Hey everyone, we're TowawayCouple. I'm Tom, the driver.
And I'm Bunny, and I drive a bigger truck than Tom does.
She does, and that is why we're here at Dan's Hitch to talk to you today about the BlueOx Sway Pro distribution hitch.
It has made a world of difference.
Real quick first, we just want to let you know we are doing podcasts now. So if you want to hear us ramble for 45 minutes about our lives, the industry, what's going on, what's happening, check out TowawayCouple, all one word, on all your podcast sites: Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, all of them. And if we're not on your favorite podcast site, let us know and we'll get us added. All right, so that was a shameless plug. So once we get done here, we are going to take you outside where Dan, the man from Dan's Hitch, is going to actually show you how to properly set up a weight distribution hitch. And believe it or not, I have been pulling trailers for 34 years, and I did not know I was doing it wrong until I was shown here. There is a right way and a wrong way.
That definitely is the truth, and you never know it until somebody teaches you.
Exactly. So this is not a sponsored video by Dan's. We are doing this here because we just love Dan's Hitch. We don't get paid for any endorsements. We put the sign behind us because we want you to know where to call and where to come. Service here has been exceptionally well. Definitely book your appointments though.
Yes, and they will answer any questions you have on this BlueOx sway control system or any other questions regarding any type of trailer setup you have.
Right. So we were running the standard weight distribution hitch as required by most transport companies. And this system is a little bit more money. So obviously a lot of people will save a few bucks and go with the other system. I'm going to tell you here now that if you're going to spend $450, think of a couple hundred extra and get this system instead of wasting $450 to spend $600, $700 later on down the road. I don't have the price on me at the top of my head, but it is a little more expensive, but it's well worth every single penny of that money. Now, one of the things that you have on the other system, I brought it over here as an example, is you put this shackle on a trailer, you attach the chain and you pop it up, and then that allows the chain to swing and swing, so there is zero sway control. The only way you get sway control is to get a sway bar, and you can't use a sway bar during RV transport because typically the bar has to be bolted to the trailer tongue or welded to the trailer tongue. So I just brought this as an example. How the Sway Pro works is you get these shackles, and these shackles here are huge. You have actually a locking and an unlocking to open and close it, but what happens is the chain rides between these two plates of steel, so when you're turning, one side will be loose but the other side will be tight, but it keeps it from pulling the trailer. It keeps the trailer in line and in place. And then when you're going down the freeway and the winds hit it and it twists the trailer, it'll actually bring it back for you. So that is the key to this Sway Pro.
Yes.
Now, it does come with these bars. The other bars that we were using, you had to reach in, snap up, and if those pins snapped, you were in trouble. These ones actually have a cotter pin that goes through, and it slides right into this hitch here, and you pin it in and it locks into place. When you put your chain on the BlueOx shackle, you use this handle here. It's not that tight because if you do it right, it's pretty easy, and you use it to undo it as well. But it looks beefier than it really needs to be. This setup also comes with the shank. Now this is a class 3 shank that probably typically they all come with, and when we got our first setup, we dumped this and we got a class 5 shank. So we got the 2.5 inch and then this shank for that setup. It comes with the 2 5/16 ball, and We use ours on the Gen Y Boss torsion hitch. What that does is, if you looked at our other videos, or if you've seen the Gen Y Boss torsion hitch, it allows you to go up and down with the head. So that way your trailer always stays level. Have you seen the trailers where they're tilted down? That's not a way I want to pull a trailer. So with our hitch, we can move it up until the trailer becomes level, and then we add the weight distribution bars.
Right, and so running it that way, not only do we have the bounce control going this way, we have the sway control going this way.
And we don't have too much tongue weight.
No, but we've got one big long system back there.
But you know what we can do is we can open our tailgate.
We can't
And
open
somebody
our tailgate.
noticed that when we were doing our 5-star dining at a Denny's restaurant in a truck stop parking lot. It comes with instructions. Instructions are pretty easy. On the bars themselves, there are little dots here, and those show you what the weight is. So this has 4 dots. It is a 1,500 pound. If it had 5 dots, it would be a 2,000 pound. I have the 1,500 pound. Pulling RVs, this is more than I need. Hat is not included. We just put it on here because of the BlueOx.
And the great thing about buying it here at Dan's Hitch is not only are you going to buy the setup, but you are also going to get shown how to properly install it and put it, attach it to your trailer.
Attach it to your trailer, because at Dan's Hitch, they actually install it here. So if you buy it here, they'll install it. They'll have the proper height, the ball height. That's one of our number one asked questions is, what is the proper ball height? At Dan's Hitch, they actually preset that up for you. Now it also does come with a couple of different things. It has a couple of threadable links so that way you can extend the chains. It has your cotter pins as well as the bolts to bolt everything up. It's a complete system, and it has a couple lube joints, but other than that, it's maintenance free except for the lube points. We're going to take you out to Dan, and we're going to have him hook it up, our truck to our trailer, show you how to hook up the shackles as well as how to line up the chains and measuring your height and just doing a proper install. And then after this video, we're going to give you some real experiences we've had with the BlueOx Sway Pro system. And yes, we are 1000% sold on this system.
And 100% satisfied.
Yes, we actually run it on our single rear wheel short bed 1-ton. We have airbags, and a lot of people would say you don't need it. Most transport companies require you to have it. So yeah, and on that single rear wheel with the bigger all-terrain tires, it's a little more driftier than a dually.
So it's a lot more secure.
Absolutely. We put it on our dually once, and the dually, we didn't even know the trailer was back there. I mean, that's already a stable truck. It was so stable, it was just smooth as silk. We had to look in the mirror a couple times.
And it was a big trailer.
It was a big trailer. So, all right, stay tuned. We're gonna move the camera system around, and we'll be right back.
Hey, we're back, and we're outside with Dan, and he's gonna explain how to hook up the BlueOx sway control system.
There is a right way and a wrong way, of course, and we'd like to do it correct. So in order to do it correctly and get the most use out of the hitch, we need to get some measurements off of the truck. We've already leveled the trailer, so we know about what the ball height is there, which we have a Gen Y hitch on the back, so we can easily adjust that up and down, just poke it in the right hole. So we're going to take some measurements on the truck, because we want the steering to be so it still has toe in, and we'll handle it good going down the road. Won't blow you around. So measure from the ground up to the bottom of the fender, and it is 40.5 inches. Actually write that down somewhere, take a note. And so it's important, I want to keep that within a 1/4 inch plus or minus when I hook up the bars and have the trailer loaded. At this point I'll go and measure the back as well. So I'm going to measure here at the back bumper. It's important that the back of the truck always goes down. You actually have a big motor, transmission, all that up front. We have an empty box more or less here at the back, obviously fuel and all that stuff in here. But we need more pulling traction. I don't want to pick it up and make that back axle loose and bouncy and lose control. So we want the back to go down. and we don't really care how much, so long as it goes down. The front's what I'm concerned about, the plus or minus a quarter. So here I'm measuring like 33.5, and it's important when we're done that it is below that. So from there, we are ready to hook to the trailer and set our hitch up with that. Again, we're just going to make some measurements on the trailer. We know where the weight distribution, they work like wheelbarrow handles, and we're getting 4-point stability out of here. So I'm going to measure actually back from the center of the ball 29 inches and put a little mark here so I know where the bar goes, the snap up bracket. So that gives me, so I will know that's where the chain goes. I'm going to jump on the other side, I guess, and get the bracket and get a bar. And so I put a little mark on the trailer so I would know where the snap up bracket would go. Different people call them different things from ears to snap up brackets to whatever. This is the BlueOx deal that goes on. Again, we're just going to center it at 29 inches. Put a little mark there. Another way to do that, if you don't have a ruler handy, is you can put your spring bar in and have the chain hang up straight. The bars here have a hole in that they're going to pin it. I like to line it up from the outside, but I actually like to put the pin through from the inside because you got your safety chains and stuff there. So here I've got it through from the inside, got the little clip on the outside, know where it is. Again, it's going to be important that when we're hooked up, that chain comes around and up perpendicular. So I know about where it needs to go by putting it in there and measuring it. The difference between this bracket and a regular bracket of the other style of hitch is that when the chain is up in there, it is actually captured, and when a truck is pushing you sideways, everything is pushing as a solid unit. Here, the chain would swing around however it wants to on here, so is part of the 4-point stabilization sway control of it. Again, on these brackets, we have numerous ones that come in where the little pecker's been broke off. Because a fellow tried to lift too much with the bar, didn't jack it up to hook up, all that type of stuff, and wear them out. So this bracket is a more substantial bracket to do the job that we're trying to do. So I put the bracket on the trailer frame, again, so it's at about 29 inches, and then I'll make it finger tight, and because it is doing the work both sideways and front to back, I actually go a half a turn past finger tight, a half a turn. I don't want to collapse the frame. The frames today are not near as thick as they used to be, and I don't want to have a concave on the inside of the bracket on the frame. Dieter, of course, doesn't like that, and there is no really way to fix that. If you do, smash it. So we don't want to smash it. So I've got the bar in there. I've got the bracket on. In order to hook it up and do the weight distribution, I'm actually going to couple the trailer to the truck and jack the back of the truck up a little bit. Recommend usually 2 to 3 knuckles of pickup. So most of the couplers today have quite a crown on the front. Actually, since '78 they have. So a lot of times you get down over the ball, you actually gotta kind of push it apart to be able to get the hitch coupler lock to go down in there. We like to use a long padlock in that process. And a number of reasons. When I plug the electrical cord in, I'm actually going to want to be able to run that through there as well. So it will just pivot around the ball when we turn. In other words, the electrical cord won't be down here getting smashed, pinched, anything else up there, because if it makes the center of the ball, that's all the turning that we need. We can also run a breakaway switch through there. Again, breakaway switch can't be wrapped around your jack or any of that. It has to be free to turn, go. And as you see, we've got a clip on the bottom of the bumper, not to the hitch. So that can be fastened directly from the switch to the truck frame. Part of the program here. So again, I'm going to jack the back of the truck up a little bit. So I've jacked it up, and again we have the Gen Y on here, which has the rubber ride in it to allow it to float a little better, and also, as you know, it's got different hole heights. That if the trailer was considerably different on height, we could put this in a different hole to make the trailer more closely level when it's done. So that's a very handy, relatively inexpensive deal to make things easy to hook and unhook and get the trailer level in the process and to ride well, just all that good stuff. So what we have here is a trailer with a top coupler 6-inch frame, and I'll just say that the distance from the ball down to the end of the bar back up to the top of the frame isn't going to make a whole lot of difference whether it's a 4-inch frame, 5-inch frame, 6-inch frame, 7-inch frame. That percentage of weight distribution, because of the height, is going to be the same regardless of what the size of the frame is. But you have a lot of Jaycos out there. Jayco in particular uses this bottom coupler where the frame would actually sit on top of the coupler. Now the top of the frame is about 3 inches higher than the top of the ball. Therefore, the chain length that we would use with the top coupler is considerably different than the coupler we would use, the chain that we would use with the bottom coupler. This is not called inverted coupler, bottom coupler, but the frame sits on top of this one, and it doesn't change anything as far as being able to use it. It just changes the chain length that we would use to distribute the weight properly on the truck. So we have the back of the truck jacked up a little bit, using the trailer jack to do that. Basically, I'm lifting the end of my wheelbarrow handles up on this end, so when I leave the weight down on them, they're going to have weight and distribute the weight forward on my truck. Technically, if there's 1,000 pounds here, I'm trying to get about 500 pounds up there and 500 pounds way back there to the trailer wheels. So I'm going to take about 1.5 times the hitch weight on the end of these two bars to make that happen. As you see, when we're done, there'll be quite a bend in the end of the bar. So I've got the bar in there. Notice put the pin through from the inside out because we're going to have chains underneath. I don't want to take the chance of bumping that link off. So this bracket, again, is very easy to use. It's on the frame. It just pivots to the back. You pull a little pin out, pivot to the back. They're suggesting that we're going to either put number 9 in the link, or number 8, or we can even go to 10 if we need to. But so I've marked the end of the link with red and with black, so I have an idea of which link I'm in, and I'm going to swing this around, and I'm going to put it in the red link for now. Take my handle and bring that up across, and you heard the little latch go in the hole. When it's up, this latch pivots here. That it's in the hole. Now it's out of the hole. It keeps it there while you do it. When it comes up against the little stopper here, and that should flop in. I'm not opposed to putting a little WD-40 on that stuff from time to time as it's used, so it doesn't get grousey. As you can see now, our chain hangs straight when it's hooked up properly, and yeah, we're going to put our safety chains on, cross them under the ball, and I want them to keep them as short as possible. I'll twist them a little bit if I need to keep them up there in close proximity. The reason you cross them is threefold. One is so it X's under the ball when you turn, but also if something ever failed that came down in them, it cradles it from digging into the pavement, but also then as you're pulling off the road, it would pull it whatever direction you're going to get off the road. So that's why you would cross the chains and keep them as short as possible. We don't want them dragging, of course, but the real reason is to work as a safety chain, as it says. So, do you want me to leave it down without putting the other bar on, or go ahead and put the other bar down so we can actually see it?
Yeah, go ahead and do the whole setup.
All right, so I'm going to walk back around, put the bracket on the other side to hook up that chain as well, and we'll be good to go. Okay. So I'm hooking up the safety chain on this side as well. Again, I'm going to put the weight distribution bar in on this side. So I'm going to line the hole up, and I go put the pin in through from the inside out. So I have my clip on the outside, I can see it all the time. I'm going to mark my frame at 29 inches. Again, we're using the BlueOx bracket. Gonna make it finger tight and a half a turn with the wrench. Again, we'll turn the bracket down. I have the handy dandy handle. The handles are much better. This is what we call the commercial handle. The original one that went to John Q. Public was only a little short thing like this, and it's a whole lot easier to use this nice big handle that they have today. Again, I hooked in the red, the link I had marked with red, which is number 8. We'll take the handle, swing it up, click, latched in, take my handle off, and then I'm ready to leave the weight down on my truck and see what happens. Because there's hydrostolic pressure and the molecular makeup of 5160 spring steel, when it is down, basically we want to leave it settle in. In other words, take my foot, put it on there, and I actually wiggle a little bit so the weight settles into the springs on my truck, on the spring bars, on the trailer. Now my measurements will be accurate. Now I'll come back around and measure the back and the front of the truck again to make sure that the right things are happening. So my back, which was at 33.5, is down to about 32.5. So I know my back is down. That's a good chance that everything is correct. So then I will walk to the front, double check my measurement over the front axle as well. Okay, so we had measured here, it was 40.5 before, it is now 40 3/4. My front went up a little. It's not far enough that it would be out of its good working program. Obviously we have diesel trucks, the front is heavy, and a little bit plus or minus is where it be. If it was up another 1/4 of an inch, I would actually be jacking up the back higher and going from number 8 length to number 9 length, so I would get more lift on the bars to get more weight distributed on the truck. So we're perfect. So again, we've just done a complete hookup on a BlueOx Sway Pro weight distribution system. As far as I'm concerned, probably the best thing you could be doing on the market. You actually have a lot of tilt on the head. You see tilt on the head, which when you go into a corner, the bar on that side comes into more tilt. The one on this side comes out, so it's actually taking those wheelbarrow handles and poking the load into the corner, making every corner seem like a bank corner. When it is straight, you see the torque in the bars. It's actually torquing that load up and pushing that load to the center so that it's not hanging back here like a pendulum. It's pushing the load towards the center to make you want to go straight down the road. A semi passes you, pushes you sideways. Not only is it helping there, it is captured inside of the bracket here so that bar cannot swing side to side. When it pushes sideways, it pushes everything. So if you see a semi go past a big bus and he's going 90 miles an hour, you see that bus kind of, I call it waller a little bit. You're gonna move 3 to 5 inches sideways to come back, but you're not gonna be buckling around the ball because this keeps that from happening. The fact that we just distributed the weight, got that 1,000 pounds gone from here is certainly very helpful. All the weight distribution hooked up properly to do that. But here we actually get the 4-point sway control, and when you push it sideways, it actually holds the unit together, makes it all seem like one unit. Obviously there is a ball there. You can still swing it around the ball, do something stupid. Well, sorry that. You can still do something that you don't want to be doing if you're swinging around the ball. So you just want to drive ahead of yourself. Don't drive with the seat of your pants, drive ahead of yourself and just maintain that deal, and it's going to do what semis do when they do it. It's all good. So that's what I wanted to say about it locking in and giving you your 4-point sway control and doing the right stuff. So we appreciate you being with us today. It's been all good. Thank you.
So now that we've done, well, sort of an unboxing, we explained the BlueOx Sway Pro weight distribution hitch. And Dan, we want to thank Dan because that took a lot of time.
It really did. A lot of time off on a Saturday to get that done for us.
Yes, and typically, actually not typically, every time, anyone who buys any hitch fifth wheel or weight distribution hitch, they're given a class by Dan himself, and he explains it in person. And if you have any questions, he can answer them for you right then and there.
Right, so it makes it a lot easier because he's right there on site, can answer all of your questions and satisfy any of your needs that you might have concerning that hitch.
Right, so again, thank you, Dan. We definitely appreciate you making our video a success.
Yes.
I couldn't have explained it better than him. So rather than you hear me kind of miss things, he got it all done.
Mm-hmm.
So we said we'd talk about our personal experience. I got to tell you, and I'm gonna actually say a bad word.
Uh-oh.
The BlueOx Way Pro weight distribution hitch is badass. I mean, it is badass because you look at the price, and I had the other hitch, and that just had the chains and everything. I saved money.
Mm-hmm. You did save money.
You know, I kind of heard about the BlueOx, but holy cow, yeah, when I kind of heard the price, I was a little gun shy. But now that I've invested into using it on the single rear wheel short bed 1-ton with the air suspension, that truck without the BlueOx would kind of the back end would wash out, or if a diesel, as Dan explained, when a diesel passes by, it would pull the trailer, which would pull the back end of my truck.
Right, so once we got the dually, we had to buy a new hitch, so we thought, why not invest the little bit of extra money and buy something that is well worth it?
And just move the one hitch from the black truck to the dually, and that way we could we'd have a comparison, but we didn't think the dually actually needed all that extra sway protection. But I'm actually thinking about duplicating the system on the dually because everything is duplicated. Now I'm not going to be able to sleep at night.
But the one thing too is it definitely stabilizes that trailer a lot more. And you know, we do a lot of West Coast runs. So when you're going across I-40, a lot of times there's a lot of winds, and that made a huge difference.
Our lights flickering. But anyway, the Sway Pro, yeah, definitely 2 thumbs up.
We're sold.
We would definitely recommend that hitch. And we would couple it with a Gen Y torsion hitch, but only because there's several reasons. One is we don't like it when the trailer's back end is up and the front end is down. We like a level unit. Mm-hmm. I think it's more aerodynamic. I think it pulls nicer. It doesn't, even though you have sway control, you don't want to over abuse it. You want it when you need it, not force it to be used the whole entire time. The Gen Y allows us to move the trailer front up or down to where the back end is more level. There have been times where I pulled over a day in and just said, man, now that everything's settled in, and Dan talks about settling it all in, all of a sudden I'm nose down a little bit, and I've totally unhooked in a parking lot, positioned my weight distribution head up, and then backed in, and everything looks...
And there'll be even times that he'll call me and he's like, it's riding different than it did a few hours ago. Can you pull up next to me and see if I am nose down? And yeah, sure enough, he knows right away. And
yeah, we
pull over in the next area and straighten it out and keep rolling.
Now, the Sway Pro, we put it on the dually. We didn't even know the trailer was back there.
No, and it was a 39-foot.
Yeah, we absolutely did not know it was back there. That was kind of shocking because even though you're in a dually and it's more stable, you still do feel a little bit of trailer swing with the diesels passing you or the winds hitting from the side. But on the single rear wheel, it is night and day noticeably different. And if you have a single rear wheel, and I got all-terrain tires, so I got more sidewall. Mm-hmm. And I think that creates a flex too.
Well, because typically we run with radio, so I'm always like, all right, this one's going to pull you in, or this one's going to push you out. And now he's like, didn't feel it.
Yep.
Didn't feel it.
Now, if you have any questions about the BlueOx Sway Pro, contact Dan's Hitch. They'll answer all your questions. If you want more specific information, pop a comment on the video. We've been doing really good at replying to all the comments on our videos, even if it's just to put a heart and a thumbs up because people say love the video or it was informative. There's nothing to comment. But BlueOx, now we're looking at our next thing with the BlueOx would be setting up to tow the black single rear wheel with the dually. So we haven't gotten that far. We've only been in it 2.5 years.
Well, we've just been running 2 trucks for the past couple months.
Right.
But then this way it will allow us to run the same direction and pull the other one back, hence using a lot less fuel.
Exactly. So, yeah, BlueOx, definitely. And we'll put Dan's Hitch information at the end of this video so you can call them directly. Dan's Hitch is really, really busy all the time. We're in the slowdown right now. They're still busy. We went there today to shoot the video on a Saturday, and the bays were all full, so they haven't slowed down. But because of that, they are in demand. We recommend 100% get an appointment. And if they say it'll be done by a certain day, it'll get done. Might be 10 o'clock at night that certain day, but they are good at their word.
Well, and they're so good at their word that you don't need to call them every couple hours to find out if your trailer is ready or your truck is ready. When they say it's ready, they're going to get it out and ready for you.
Exactly, and they'll call you or text you and say, come get it. So our next video will probably be in a couple weeks. We are off to Jamaica next week.
Might as well go put our toes in the sand.
Drinks in our hand.
While we're in a slowdown here.
Right. I mean, we got a full bar.
I was just telling Tom when we were there in June, I was like, gosh, I don't even know if I want to be here. I could be home making money. Now, we can't be home making money because there is no money to be made right now. Right. So we're going to enjoy the heck out of it.
Yep. So, again, subscribe to our video. Like our video, post a comment. Not only if we don't reply, other people do respond. Go to our Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, TowAwayCouple. All one word. You'll find us everywhere. We post everything about us and the RV transport, not just about RV transport. And now go to TowAwayCouple.com. We have a link for podcast. We are now doing podcast, because we know you don't watch the videos this far in.
So all of your favorite podcast stations you can find us on. And if you can't, let us know and we'll get on there too.
We'll get at it. So, all right. So until next time.
We'll see you down the road.
We'll see you down the road.